My BIL tried to get me fired, so I ruined his wedding photos. This happened about 4 years ago when I was still married. My sister-in-law was getting married to this guy, Darren, and Darren absolutely hated me because I was the only person who wouldn't put up with his lies. About 2 years before the wedding, Darren borrowed $800 from my wife for car repairs, and then showed up 3 days later with new gaming equipment. At a family cookout, I pulled him aside and told him he needed to pay my wife back and stop lying to everyone. He got defensive and we left it at that. 2 weeks later, my boss called me into his office. Someone had been calling claiming I was padding my hours and billing clients for work I didn't do. Complete fabrication. Then HR got an email saying I'd made inappropriate comments to a woman in accounting. It took 3 weeks and a meeting with our lawyer to clear my name, but people still whispered. My wife's cousin eventually told us Darren had been bragging at a bar about handling me. I wanted to go after him legally, but our lawyer said without proof it was his voice, we had nothing. So I cut him off completely. No family dinners if he was there, no events, nothing. My in-laws eventually asked me to be civil at family gatherings because it was hurting my wife's relationship with her sister. My mother-in-law actually cried about it once. These were good people, so I agreed to be in the same room, but that was it. The wedding planning started. My wife was maid of honor, our kids were flower girl and ring bearer. I wasn't in the wedding party and planned to sit in back and leave early. 2 months before the wedding, Darren's mom called saying Darren wanted to rent suits for me and my son as an apology. My wife thought maybe he was making peace. I didn't buy it, but sent our measurements to avoid drama with my in-laws. The wedding was in Tennessee. We live in Ohio. I packed my charcoal gray suit anyway. My wife thought I was being paranoid. Friday afternoon, I went to pick up the suits in Nashville. The woman brought out garment bags. I unzipped mine and started laughing. It wasn't a suit. It was a cream-colored tuxedo with a champagne vest, identical to what the groomsmen were wearing. My father-in-law got one too. Darren wanted us dressed like his groomsmen so it would look like everyone was on his side. I texted my wife a picture. She called immediately, furious. Then she said, "Wear your gray suit, and I'm putting you in as many photos as possible." Saturday, wedding day. All the bridesmaids wore champagne dresses. Groomsmen had cream tuxedos. I put on my charcoal gray suit with a dark blue tie. When Darren saw me, his whole face changed. He came over, shook my hand, said through his teeth that I looked very nice. My mother-in-law asked if something happened with the tux. I said it didn't fit right. After the ceremony came photos. My wife started pulling me into everything. "Okay, bride's side family," and she'd wave me over. "Let's get one with all the siblings and their spouses." She grabbed my arm. "Everyone who traveled from out of state." There I was. The photographer didn't question it because my wife was maid of honor. My father-in-law caught on and started including me in his family shots too. Every photo had this perfect cream and champagne color scheme, and then me in my dark gray suit, sometimes front and center, sometimes on the edge, but always visible. The color made me stand out like a stain. During the reception, Darren cornered my wife. Later, she told me he'd asked why I was in so many pictures. She said, "He's family. You wanted him here at the wedding, right?" He didn't have an answer. 3 months later, my sister-in-law called my wife crying and screaming. The professional photos had come back. She'd paid $2,800. She said more than half the pictures were completely ruined because I was in them wearing the wrong color. She demanded we all fly back to Tennessee to retake them. My wife said no. We'd already spent $600 on flights and a hotel. My sister-in-law took the photos to an editor to digitally change my suit to cream. They quoted her $400 and said it wouldn't look natural. My wife and I divorced about a year ago for unrelated reasons, but we still laugh about those photos.